You heard of Ashtavakra? Ashtavakra means 8 types of deformities he had in his body. He was born this way because he was cursed by his own father when he was in his mother's womb. His father was also a very famous sage and a great scholar, acquired many things, we don't know how many lifetimes. When the wife is pregnant, it's part of the culture that when a woman is pregnant, she must hear all the scriptures and all the good things and knowledge because she should not hear wrong things, negative things. She should hear nice, pleasant music, she must hear good things, people read Bhagavad Gita to her, Vedas to her. Whether she understands or not, it doesn't matter. The child will listen. Slowly, its evolution will be affected by what the child listens to. So, as a part of it, the father was saying something, explaining something about a scripture. Then suddenly they heard a voice disagreeing with what the father was saying. The child from within the womb said, "No, that's not it, you didn't get it right." The father got so incensed by this, an unborn son, already negating him. It should happen after he's 18 years of age. An unborn one already saying you are wrong. It happens when they come to teenage. He got so incensed and cursed him that let him have 8 types of deformities. So he was born almost an inhuman form, twisted out body. So he was named as Ashtavakra, 8 types of deformities. Father was what to say, he was in the king's court, in King Janaka's court, as a scholar, a very accomplished scholar. King Janaka has such a thirst to know. He wants to become enlightened. So he gathered all kinds of sages and scholars and the works, anybody he could get anywhere, he brought them into his court and he wanted to listen to their teachings. And he himself became an accomplished yogi over a period of time, but he is still not realized. Then one day, Ashtavakra's father took this little boy to the court. When the king, Janaka, saw Ashtavakra, Ashtavakra held the king's eyes. When the king looks at you, you're supposed to look down, which all the scholars and everybody do. But this boy just looked at him straight. So Janaka was little taken back. Such a distorted body, he almost has not even a human-looking body. But the boy's eyes were such, he just stared at the king and said, "All these scholars who are sitting here, with all due respect to all of them, nobody, none of these people, including my father, will be able to give you what you're looking for." The king was flabbergasted, this 8 or 9-year-old boy saying this to him, and his father wanted to nuskify him because this fellow has this habit of saying these things right from the beginning. Then Ashtavakra, at the age of 12 or 14, he left the family and went into the forest. One day King Janaka went hunting with his retinue of soldiers and the works. And in the heat of hunt, he got separated from the soldiers and he got lost in this forest. Then he found Ashtavakra sitting in the jungle. So King Janaka, sitting on his horse, looked at him and said, "You are here?" He said, "Yes." And Ashtavakra, in his own way, said, "And it's me who has drawn you here, from your people, away from all of them. If you're willing to just take instructions from me, I'll get you there, what you're looking for." So King Janaka wanted to ask, "Did you see any of my soldiers? Did you see any of the royal retinue around?" because he wants to find them and go back home. So Ashtavakra asked, what is more important for you? What you've been claiming all your life that you want, or you want to find your way home? Which way is it? This hit the king so much. He said, no, that's the only thing I want, I don't care whether I go back to the palace or not. And he wanted to get down from the horse. He took one leg off the stirrup and he was up, one leg here. Ashtavakra said, just stop. Stop right there. When he was just getting off the horse, he asked him to just stop there, stuck in an uncomfortable position on the horse like this, one leg up, one leg in the stirrup. He said, just stay there. This is the first act of Zen, okay? This is some 8,000 years ago. And Janaka realized in that uncomfortable position, he suddenly burst into enlightenment. He got down and bowed down to Ashtavakra and wanted to stay there. After a certain period of time, Ashtavakra said, you go back to the palace. King Janaka said, no way, the palace means nothing to me, I am not going back. So Ashtavakra said, the question is not about whether you want to be a king or not. The people of this nation need an enlightened king, so you must go. So he sent him back.
What is a temple? Let's understand this. Generally, when we utter the word temple, immediately people are thinking of which religion? No. If temple belongs to you or me or to a particular group, you cannot call it a temple. Temple is an invitation to the divine. If we can set up a space and the necessary tools where divine is more manifest, not that it is not there everywhere, it's just that more experienceable. There's sound waves everywhere, but you cannot hear it. You need a cell phone to catch the transmission, otherwise you can't catch it. So we can say a temple is a larger cell phone. You can't talk, just to listen, one-way cell phone, is it okay? I always set up the temple in such a way that you can't yap. Is that okay? Or you want to talk? If you want to listen to a dimension beyond, if you want to be receptive to that possibility, we can create a space like that. We can create a device or a tool like that. When I use the word tool, there seems to be a certain sense of lack of reverence in me. But I particularly use the word tool. When I refer to the Dhyana Linga as a tool, people feel offended. Sadhguru, don't say that. In our experience, it's everything. Don't call it a tool. I say it's a tool. Because the word tool means that which works. It is not a piece of art that you can just appreciate. It's a tool because it works. There's just one screw in the door, if I ask you to unscrew it with your hands, can you do it? But if I give you a screwdriver, you can do that, isn't it? Similarly, to open the doors for the beyond, there is a tool. With your own hands, if you try to unscrew that simple screw in the door, all your 10 nails will go, but still it'll not come. Yes? You can try with your teeth. You know, people do. When they have no tools, they'll try their hands, if it doesn't work, don't you do? You may lose your teeth, still it may not come. But if you had a simple tool, how easily you could do it. So this is a tool to open the doors of the beyond. And I don't think a tool is irreverential, nor do I think a tool is insulting. A tool is a tremendous possibility, isn't it? The significant development in human societies happened only when we started making tools, isn't it? No? Why is it offensive if I say a temple is a tool? A temple is a tool. There are different ways of using different tools. For this tool, you have to be in a certain mode. Because this is not a physical tool, you have to approach it in a certain way. So that certain way may also include a certain level of reverence because that attitude is needed to be able to use that tool. So it's very important that it is understood and used as a tool, not as a destination, but just as a possibility. A temple is not a destination. A temple is only a doorway. A doorway is not a destination. A doorway is just a doorway, opens up something. So what does it take to build a temple? Of course, we need some stone and many other material, but what does it take within a human being to build a temple? Why I'm telling you all this is I'm trying to discourage you. A temple will not happen unless at least a band of people, at least a handful of people, hold it above their own life, not as a part of their life, not as a side thing that they do in their life. Temple building is not a hobby or a profession. You have to see it as something beyond your life, more important than your life. You must understand, at least in the East, in India, temples were built so elaborately, some of the temples took 3 to 4 generations to complete. For example, the Kailash temple in Ajanta, Ellora, in the Ajanta area in Maharashtra. There are many in Tamil Nadu. This temple was carved out of the rock. They did not build it. A huge mountain of a rock, they carved the temple into it. 3 floors, all carved out. They must have removed hundreds of tons of stone, probably thousands of tons of stone, because all the empty space that you see in the temple has been carved out. And they made 3 stories, elaborate, decorations, and there are at least about 600 statues, all carved out. If you make one mistake, you have to rebuild the whole temple. Yes, because it's not built, it's not something you can take it off and put something. It is carved into the rock. It took 135 years, at least 4 generations of people working to the same plan. Three to 4 generations of people working to the same plan for 135 years to complete the temple. And nowhere their names are written. Such phenomenal work. Many of them must have started working at 14, 15 years of age and they would have died there, okay, doing the work. But nobody's name is written. Architect's name is not written. The kings who sponsored the temple, their names are not written. That's a temple, understand? It's not a place for us to leave a footprint of who we are. A very beautiful story. There was an old man. There was a man. Men get old. Slowly. He had 2 sons. Father and 2 sons worked hard, built a big farm, they became prosperous. Then for the old man, time to die came. When he was going away, he told his 2 sons, whatever comes out of this land, both of you should share equally. and you must always keep it up. At no point there should be any dispute between the two of you. They agreed in front of their father and they kept to it. I'm saying, not dividing the land. Dividing the land has come only in the last 4 to 5 generations in India, maybe 3 to 4 generations. Before that, there was no such thing as, this is my land, this is your land. Only the produce was divided, never the land. So conceptually, it was not there in people's minds that you can actually divide the land. So he said, you must divide the produce equally. And they stuck to it. After some time, one of the brothers got married. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 children he had. The other one never got married. So he was alone. But still the crop was shared 50-50. Because those are the father's words, you can't change it, that's his wish. So the brother who was married and had 5 children, one day a worm entered into his mind. You know, sometimes worms get into your mind. A worm entered his mind, and then a thought arose, and he thought, I have a wife and 5 children, I get 50%. My brother is alone by himself and he gets 50%. When I grow old, my sons will grow up, 5 of them. They will tame more land, we will become more prosperous and we will have much more. But my brother is alone. When he gets old, he will have only 50% of what we have now. This is not fair. But he is so proud. If I try to give him little more, he will not take it. If I try to share my produce from the new lands that my sons have broken, he will not take it. Only from their father's land, he will take 50%. So what to do? So in the night, when everybody is asleep, he carries a bag of grain and takes it and puts it into his brother's store. So that unknowingly, he's donating to his brother. The other brother, who was alone, thought, my brother has a wife and 5 children, he needs more. I'm just alone, what will I do with all this? But if I try to offer anything, he will not take. So he started carrying grains and dropping it into his brother's store. Reverse osmosis was happening. And nobody knew. In the night, quietly, once in a way, this brother puts one bag, that brother puts another bag. This went on. They became old. One day, 2 old men were carrying sacks of grain in the night, and they came and they faced each other. Both of them realized what's been happening. But they looked away and continued their journey, put the sacks and went back. Then they died after some time. The townsfolk were wanting to build a temple. They were looking for a site, they went to many places. After much looking, they decided to build a temple where these 2 brothers met on that night. They looked at each other and suddenly they were so embarrassed of their own generosity, they looked the other way and continued their job. They thought this is the best place to build a temple. Because that's what a temple means, that looking beyond yourself. If that is not there, there is no temple.
दूर उस आकाश की गहराइयों में एक नदी से बह रहे हैं आदि योगी शून्य सन्नाटा सनन सननन प्राण गुंजन धनन गणनन उतरे मुझ में आदि योगी योग धारा छलक छन छन सांस शाश्वत सनन सननन प्राण गुंजन धनन गणनन उतरे मुझ में आदि योगी उतरे मुझ में आदि योगी। पीस दो अस्तित्व मेरा और कर दो चूरा चूरा पूर्ण होने दो मुझे और होने दो अब पूरा पूरा।